Welcome to the Flynn Brothers Podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Jimmy. Today's big idea, 50th episode Extravaganza, Part 1.
We're commemorating the 50th episode of the Flynn Brothers Podcast with 10 top 5 lists that cover our favorite categories.
From movies and TV to sports to the upcoming Christmas season, we're covering it all in an action-packed 2-part episode. It's all coming up. But first, here's the Solons.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Tonight's a party. It's that time of year, time of holidays, parties, and all sorts of parties. This past weekend, we were partying with our producer, Will Slade, up to some godforsaken hour in the evening, or next morning, you might say. Yeah. Our producer, even rushed here from a party. And it's just a very jovial party atmosphere, especially today, because it is our 50th episode of the Flynn Brothers Podcast.
Pretty incredible. I'll give ourselves a round of applause.
Yeah, there we go. A tepid round of applause. But pretty cool, huh? We got almost a year of these things under our belt. It's party time, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a cause for much mirth, I think.
Mirth. So to commemorate the 50th episode, we're doing 10 top 5 lists. Now, if you're good at math, you know that 10 times 5 is
50.
Perfect, which is exactly how many episodes we've done, so this is wonderful. What a great 50th episode extravaganza we have for you. We're going to do 3 categories in part 1 and then 2 categories in part 2. I guess part 2 technically would be our 51st episode, but it's like this party we were at with our producer over the weekend. Sometimes you're partying at night and then it bleeds into the next day, but it's still kind of one night, isn't it? You still sort of see it as one party, don't you?
Sometimes your 50th episode is both your 50th and your 51st episode.
That's where you stumble into a deli and you put down a Reuben, and that's all there is to it. All right, let's get into it, though. We got the Christmas season is upon us. So our first category we're going to do these lists for is Christmas. And a side note, we assigned each other these lists. So I came up with lists I wanted you to do your top 5 for. You came up with lists you wanted me to do my top 5 for, and we fit them into these categories. So for Christmas, I assigned you, I wanted to hear your top 5 worst Christmas songs, your least favorite Christmas songs. Are you ready?
I am. You've put me into the Grinch role, the Scrooge, somebody who's going to be...
You're an old miser, that old Scrooge. You're a miser. But your least favorite, the worst Christmas songs, what are they?
All right. Number 5, I think this is one is pretty roundly hated. The Little Drummer Boy.
Yes.
Ba-rum-pa-bum-bum. Yeah. It's terrible. It's arrhythmic. There's also just no fun. It's not fun at all. It's very overly serious. It's also a drum-heavy song with this very monotone, repetitive, military sort of taps.
Who's at 4, I guess? I even like a little boy in a drummer outfit. I just don't really understand. It's like got kind of that holier than thou, almost like church music style to it, but I don't think it's really a religious song, but it has this weird holier than thou-ness, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just no one wants to hear it when it comes on. So Little Drummer Boy, pretty roundly despised. I don't think it's anybody's favorite.
I'm surprised it's at 5. I thought that would be a heck of a lot higher. We'll see, though.
I'll tell you, there's a real surprise waiting at number 1.
Okay, all right.
Stick around here.
Right.
Number 4, this is a song I did not learn about until somewhat recently. Dominic the Donkey.
Oh, Yes, this is a much in the Christmas canon. I had not really been familiar with it either until the last 5 or so years. But yeah, very grating song.
Yeah, hee-haws do not belong in any song. Hee-haw is not a phrase that belongs in a song. Best way I can describe it, it's an Italian flop. Like it's just it's very Italian. It has like that Buca de Beppo, like early 20th century feel to it, when Italians were still like, hey, how do we fit into American culture? Maybe we'll be caricatures of ourselves. And that's sort of how Dominic the Donkey feels to me. Again, another peripheral character in Christmas, Dominic the Donkey.
It's Italian man named Dominic the ass. Like to your point about like Italians having to make fools of themselves in order to fit in. It is so of the time, so antiquated.
Yeah, it's not a very good song. No. All right, now we're getting into a little bit of spicier territory here. Number 3 is any version of Santa Baby not sung by Eartha Kitt. Every single other one is bad because there's only one way to sing Santa Baby, and Eartha Kitt sings it perfectly. All the others are cheap knockoffs that are trying to channel Eartha's once-in-a-lifetime sort of sensuality that also paired brilliantly with comedy. For those who don't know who Eartha Kitt is, in a later part of her career, she starred as Irma in An Emperor's New Groove. Is that her name?
Yes, and then I'm not sure if that's character name. And then she was in Holes as Madame Zeroni, right?
Yes. Yeah. So she's kind of like this very singular character.
But has always been campy. She was in the original Batman movie or in one of the Batman, or maybe the TV show as Catwoman. So she always had kind of this campiness to it. But yeah, she blended it so well. It is supposed to be kind of a funny song, but it is supposed to be sexy. And it's really hard to toe that line. Every cover is either way too far into the sexy kind of sex pot camp, or just it's like a parody, and she just is the only one who's nailed it.
Yeah, perhaps the most offensive one is Kim Kardashian. You know, we typically, I think, laud the many talents of Kim Kardashian, but singing is not one of them.
It's not like she's in the Solons or anything like that. No.
Though she could probably help our listening numbers. Kim, reach out to us. I take back everything I said about your singing. Number 2 is the Chipmunk Song, or Christmas Don't Be Late is the name of it. You may not have heard this one too often. It is sung by the Chipmunks, so sort of self-explanatory as to why it's out. The line that I think you will know, it goes like, "Me, I want a hula hoop."
Yes, now I recognize
That's my Chipmunk.
Yes.
Maybe Will can pitch me up in the edit.
It was a little Sandler-ish. It was a little like a Hanukkah song, Adam Sandler-ish there.
Well,
I don't even really know that I've heard it that many times, but that's one you've heard enough to drive you crazy.
It's a bad one. It's a bad one, very much so. Perhaps you could quibble with Santa Baby being here, but that's just the appetizer. Really, for the main course here, I'm really going scorched earth. The worst Christmas song is Jingle Bells.
Oh my God.
Jingle Bells is the worst Christmas song.
Oh my God.
It is repetitive. It doesn't have very interesting lyrics. It is about this bygone time. Who has ever been in a one-horse open sleigh?
Oh, it's one-horse open sleigh? Is that what it is?
See, you don't even know. You don't even know.
I thought it was like a Hoven or like Hopin or something.
It's a song about, I guess, being packed into a sleigh that's open, being dragged by one horse through the snow. I don't know what that's like. And there are bells on this horse.
Right. You hear them in the track.
That jingle. And we were recently shopping for a white elephant party at Marshall's.
Yes.
And there was the schmaltziest cover by Michael Bublé that came on. There's no way to sing Jingle Bells that's good. You don't want to go overly serious. You don't want to go overly like campy or lounge singery, which he did.
Now I will push back a little. I do think there is like a Sinatra. I think it's a Sinatra version, maybe Dean Martin, but there is a jingle bells, jingle all the way. Like, I don't mind the crooner, sleazy lounge singer approach to it, but I think you can't like sing it very seriously.
No, it's a song for children. It's a song for kindergartners to sing at the pageant. That's the only place where I find it acceptable because it's a very simple song, right? It's got an easy, simple melody that anyone can sing. But you know, it's like, oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh, and then immediately here goes the verse: dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. We're just repeating it again. I mean, is it that great to really be in the snow in a sleigh, I don't think so.
Now,
and I think the reason, again, that I would say that Jingle Bells is number one is because you hear it all the time. It's probably the quintessential Christmas song, and I just don't think it's very good, and that's why it's the worst one to me.
I hear ya. I see ya. Where do you stand on? You're a big Batman guy. Where do you stand on the Batman parody of Jingle Bells? Jingle Bells.
Batman
smells. Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost its wheel, and the Joker got away. Hey, do you like that version?
I mean, I loved it when I was 5.
Robin laid an egg. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, Robin is not a bird. What is laid? Is it a euphemism for like a fart or what?
I think it's a little bit of that, and it's a pun on
I
the
see.
bird name of Robin.
I guess as a sports figure, if you lay an egg, you kind of were a loser.
Yeah.
You didn't try very hard.
Right.
Very interesting.
So
very
that's
interesting.
that's right.
Jingle Bells, the worst Christmas song in the history of
Yeah.
mankind.
I'm
you
hot
say.
taking it. I'm doing
like
the
it.
podcast thing.
You're doing the podcast
for
thing?
a 50th episode. I had to give a little spice.
This, it's a party atmosphere, and it's an extravaganza, and you got things off to a rollicking start. So good job, buddy. Now, for me, you assigned. You want to tell the folks what you assigned me?
The top 5 Christmas movies,
So,
according
yes.
to Jimmy Flynn.
You tasked me with the top 5 Christmas movies. I'll confess, I cheated at the number 5 spot and a couple other spots, I'll be honest. Just 5 and 4, I guess. But going backwards from 5, I did not do even a movie for number 5. Instead, I did 2 TV episodes that I think you could watch back to back and kind of count it as one Christmas movie. So the first episode you want to watch is the Christmas special, How the Grinch Stole Christmas from 1966, right? An iconic, everyone knows it. Boris Karloff, who played the original Frankenstein, he actually does the voice of both the narrator and the Grinch. Can you believe that?
Wow.
And then, of course, there's Thurl Ravenscroft, that name I had to Google. He sings the You're a Mean One,
Oh, yes.
Mr. Grinch.
That's an
right?
all-timer right
That's a
there.
great part of that one. So I think that's the first part of the double feature. You watch 1966's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You don't got to futz with the Jim Carrey one. Jim Carrey's great in that movie, but it's way too long, and it's just too many problems with that movie, right? All right, so that's the first part of the double feature. Second part of the double feature, you watch the pilot episode of The Simpsons titled Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire, which is a Christmas episode. It involves Bart going against his parents' wishes, getting a tattoo, and I think Marge has to like raise some money, and then Homer blows it all at the track, at the dog track. He bets on a total loser named Santa's Little Helper, who is a dog that they then adopt and bring home. And it's just very sweet and heartwarming, and just everything Prime Simpsons was. Just a great family sitcom with like a streak of kind of meanness and satire. And I think those two together, they're about 25 half hour each. You watch them back to back. I think that's a great kind of family friendly Christmas movie experience. What do you think? I know I cheated, but what do you think?
I would hope that the children sort of nod off, perhaps, for the Simpsons episode in terms of it being family friendly. I think you're pretty much cheating. Obviously, you're cheating. You're mashing together two things from vastly different cultures. I mean, what does Boris Karloff have to do with Matt Groening? I'm not sure. But I do think that both of those works of Christmas art are quite worthy, so
Well,
I
thank
can't
you.
quibble with it too much.
Well, thank you, buddy. The number 4 spot, I did not do strictly a Christmas movie. I went with a movie that to me feels like Christmas and I enjoy watching around the Christmas holiday season.
Okay.
And that is the Coen brothers' 1994 film, The Hudsucker Proxy, starring Tim Robbins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and of course, Paul Newman. One of the most underrated Coen brothers movies, one of the most underrated movies, period. It's one of our absolute favorites. I think more accurately, you would refer to this as a New Year's Eve movie. There are some pivotal scenes in the beginning and end of the film that take place right at midnight on New Year's. And I don't know. There's a lot of snow in the movie, which any movie with snow, you can kind of just rope into being a Christmas movie. It's kind of a rags to riches to rags to riches type tale, right? Which feels very Christmassy. It is pretty family friendly. It's pretty zany. It's a screwball comedy. If you're a Coen Brothers fan and you've never seen this movie, it is really, really wonderful. It's kind of a throwback to like His Girl Friday, Fast Talking Dame, and you know, The Straight Man and The Big Evil Boss, like these kind of archetypes that were familiar in mid 20th century movies. But it's just wonderful. I mean, we watched it a lot during the holiday New Year's season, and it's just one of our absolute favorites. I just love it.
Tim Robbins, you get a great late career Paul Newman performance. You know, I love the movie as well. I do not consider it to be a Christmas movie. It's definitely a New Year's movie.
Well, what can I say? You know,
it's your list. It's your list. What can I do?
There's only so many good Christmas movies. I'll give you a top 3 here that are pretty good. But to me, those, you know, the TV double feature and Hudsucker Proxy, you know, I could be an a-hole and do Die Hard. Sure. You know, and fudge that as Christmas movie. I could do A Christmas Story, even though I didn't really like. That's not my era, right?
Yeah.
Like I just didn't want to like Home Alone. It's good. It's not my absolute favorite, but like these top 3 to me are the best examples of Christmas movies across the spectrum.
All right.
Okay. So whatever. If you want to throw out the first couple, go for it.
I like that you're sticking with your guns, sticking with stuff that you actually like, as opposed to you know, playing some old hits that.
I don't do tired takes. No tired takes.
Nothing
right?
tired.
Nothing ill-considered. Right. And if you don't like it, you can sit on a jingle bell. All right. Number 3. This is my third favorite Christmas movie of all time. I think definitively the third best one. Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton, Bernie Mac, Tony Cox. It's a filthy movie. It, like Superbad, only in the years since the movie's come out, has just gotten filthier and filthier, kind of the cleaner and more tame society has gotten in art in some ways. But this is Billy Bob Thornton's best role. I mean, this thing is just tailor-made for him. He is a perfect blend of funny and pathetic and weirdly kind of sexy and kind of a father figure. Tony Cox is unbelievably funny. Bernie Mac's unbelievably funny. The kid they get as Thurman Merman is brilliant. There's a really emotional scene too where kind of the mall job goes wrong at the end and Billy Bob's like, you know, I'm gonna get this kid as effing Pink Elephant, and the cops gun him down, and like there's just this great like sweeping climax to the movie. It's unbelievably funny, unbelievably filthy. You know, there's a scene where he's fornicating with ladies in the big and tall section, changing rooms, and just
Yes.
That's like a lot of the humor is just as like how kind of dirty and risque could we make it. But it is genuinely heartfelt. It is definitely a movie that is for older adults, you know, older teens, stuff like that. But it's just a really great Christmas movie. I mean, you could strip away all the filth, which kind of makes the movie. You could strip it all away. It's got great bones, and it's just a very well-written, very well-executed Christmas movie.
Totally. Yeah. Got the main lady from Gilmore Girls as
Lauren Graham, I believe.
As his love interest.
Yes.
She's got a thing for Santa, which I think is just a great touch for it. Yeah. No, fantastic.
One of my favorite lines in the movie, too, is just the opening monologue where he just talks about how terrible his life is.
Yeah.
And I think it ends with him going outside a bar. He's dressed as Santa and he pukes. And the line is something like, you know, life's funny. It's hilarious. And it's just so great. It's so great. All right, number 2, easy one for me. Second best Christmas movie, Elf. Will Ferrell and Elf. I believe also from the year 2003. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be 2002. Will Ferrell's just so funny. I was reading this behind the scenes thing where when he was making the movie, he was very insecure, you know, being in the suit and thinking, is this funny at all? And kind of clashing with Jon Favreau a bit. But it is unbelievably funny. It works at face value as a comedy. It doesn't have to be really swept up in the Christmas movie. It's so fish out of water, so high premise. James Caan, the late great James Caan, is so good in this movie at like grounding what is just an absurd reality in Will Ferrell's character. I will never forget the audience pop when we saw this movie in the theaters when it first came out, and he goes to New York City for the first time and is picking the gum off the rails and puts them all in his mouth. I mean, there are just so many great movies like that are shocking and whimsical and really surprising. And again, very heartfelt film. You know, James Caan is the Scrooge, the miser. He doesn't like the Christmas season. And then at the end, when they're trying to fill the Sano meter or whatever, and they need everyone to sing to believe in the spirit of Christmas, and he's not really singing. And then finally, when he starts singing, you know, the music swells and the sleigh goes over his head. And it's just such a great, you know, a spine-tingling scene. It's just so good. The magic of Christmas encapsulated in that film.
Oh, absolutely. I think everyone's just kind of perfectly cast. Like,
Yes.
James Caan at that point in his life, perfect, like, old, crusty man. Will Ferrell, ultimate man-child, full-grown human who thinks he's an elf. And then Zooey Deschanel, your early aughts,
right.
quirky alternative love interest.
You got Mary Steenburgen is great.
Oh, yes.
I'm spacing. Bob Newhart is great as that elf. There's a lot of great actors in it. And of course, number one, we mentioned it on a recent episode. It's a Wonderful Life, directed by Frank Capra, starring Jimmy Stewart. It's great, man. You know, it there's a little bit of setup involved in the film for sure. I think for really young kids, it's not going to quite do it for them. I remember watching it as a kid and just kind of like falling asleep because like you're 5 years old and it's a black and white movie and things just don't move as fast. But that end scene is just one of the best in any movie. And Jimmy Stewart's performance is so brilliant. And to me, as time goes on, as other Christmas movies come out, as I watch and rewatch and re-examine and get older and look back, it just stands above them.
Yeah, I think the reason why it doesn't hit when you're a kid is because you just haven't lived a life yet. You have to live like at least a good chunk of your life where you've made decisions where you're like, boy, did I make the right decision there? Or boy, how would life have been if things went another way? And it just really reminds you of the truth that is the thesis statement of that film, that, hey, it's a wonderful life.
It's what listeners say to themselves when they're tuning into the Flynn Brothers podcast. It's a wonderful life. More of our 50th episode extravaganza after the break. All right, we are moving to our next category, food, something we often talk about here on the Flynn Brothers podcast. For your top 5 list for food, I assigned you the top 5 foods that are as delicious as they are disgusting.
Yes.
This is something I've been thinking about recently when I've eaten certain foods, and I'm very curious to hear what you come up with for this.
Oh, thank you, buddy. I feel pretty good about this list. Number 5 is chicken salad. Chicken salad kind of stinks. Yeah, there's really no way around it. It just
literally
sort of
smells
stinks.
bad, you mean?
Yes, smells bad. Tastes pretty good.
Oh,
Like, I would say it's one of my favorite sort of make it at home type sandwiches, but kind of the two sides of the coin there is you want chicken salad to kind of sit in the fridge overnight.
Right.
And if you let it sit in the fridge overnight, the first time you open it, it's like, oh, God, am I really going to eat this? And then you eat it, and it's great. But chicken salad, I think, it's not that gross, but it's also not that delicious. So I felt this was a good open sort of get people into the concept.
A lot of ways to go with a chicken salad. You and I, we've made it before. We like a lot of dill in the chicken salad. I think that kind of makes it. How do you feel about a lot of people add like grapes to their chicken salad? You ever done that?
No, that is, I think, where chicken salad can get gross. If you put it into some sicko's hand without a good grasp of the culinary world, all sorts of stuff could end up in there. I suppose also chicken salad, it depends, cousin of tuna salad. I felt tuna salad was just too far to go, and I don't really eat tuna salad that often, so I wanted to stick with stuff that I ate.
It leaned too far toward disgusting, is that the idea?
Yeah, I think so. And then it kind of all depends on how you feel about about mayo. And frankly,
Right.
mayo could have been my entry here, which was something that
Mayo.
I thought was gross. Obviously, growing up, everybody I think thinks mayo's kind of disgusting growing up. And then you have it in a sandwich that really needs it. Like
Yes.
it's a
turkey
need.
sandwich or
Yes,
something. Yeah.
and it really brings it to life. So now I'm a big mayo guy.
How does
but,
mayo sound when you stick the knife and swirl it around? It's
God,
it's put a chill up your spine just
terrible,
thinking about
terrible.
it. All right.
Yeah. All right. Number 4, I went with, as of my gross yet delicious foods, peanut butter.
Huh.
Peanut butter. I am speaking specifically about the organic peanut butter that you have to stir. That is kind of gross. I don't like seeing it separated, just pure oil and then whatever peanut matter, and having to stir that together. And then there are also times when I open up a peanut butter and it smells like kind of like a fart almost. Like
I know what you're talking
it's
about.
akin to something that I think other cultures, this is a very acquired American thing. Peanut butter doesn't really exist in the way that we use it in America and other places. And I can see why occasionally, because there's like, ugh, what is roasted bean paste? Like, that's what it is. It's roasted bean paste.
Beans, it's beans. It's funny with peanut butter. People love like Jif, Skippy, all that stuff, but it's basically frosting. If you have real peanut butter and then you have that stuff, there's just so much like corn syrup and canola oil and a bunch of crap in it. As good as it is, it's very spreadable and tasty. But yeah, when you buy the organic true peanut butter, I don't know how disgusting it is. I do kind of buy your argument that it's not fun to stir and the oil gets on your hands and it sometimes can have a bad smell. And perhaps some of our international listeners, all of the millions of them, will weigh in on this. But yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting choice. I'm noticing a pattern so far. Two pastes you've listed.
Yes.
I'm curious if more pastes are to come.
Pastes to me are not the most attractive type
no.
of food. This one is paste adjacent. Number 3, Velveeta. Velveeta. The fact that it just comes in a brick, that you're slicing off pieces, it wiggles, it jiggles. When it's at room temperature, it hardens into a concrete sort of, it's just all wrong. It's liquid, it's solid, it's a color that no food is. But it is absolutely critical to a good mac and cheese or queso. And so
I was making mac and cheese one time, and I was looking all over the grocery store for the Velveeta, and I was like, where's the Velveeta? Where's the Velveeta? And then I was realizing I was looking in the fridges when I was like, oh, I need to look like with the pantry goods. And it's like, there it was above the pasta, just like, 70 degrees in the grocery store, totally unchanged. That is a really good choice.
Yeah.
Really good choice, buddy.
It's all wrong. You shouldn't be storing cheese, at room temperature.
It is disgusting.
Next to
but
the spices.
God, is it delicious.
Absolutely. Can't have queso or mac and cheese without it, in my opinion. If you want it to be really, really good. If you want it to be extremely delicious.
Yes.
Okay, number 2. This is one that, everybody I think is on board with. Eggs.
Yeah.
Eggs.
Yeah.
They're gross, but they're delicious. You can use them in everything. You can eat them on their own. You
Yeah.
can hard boil them. They're the most versatile food in the entire world, probably. Also extremely nutritious, on and on and on. But not only do they stink when you kind of cook them, like there's that egg smell that I don't think anybody really, really loves, especially, rotten eggs, obviously, famously one of the most gross things that exist. But also just the cracking of the shell and the gooey liquid getting onto your fingers. And, you also have to sort of confront that this is sort of a aborted embryo of or maybe it was never, but it's like, this could have been alive. This could have had a life. This could have been a chicken. And then the other side of it too is, you don't clean up well enough after yourself, you're going to give yourself salmonella. You could potentially kill yourself.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hard-boiled eggs, to me, I know people like them, but to me, they're just the most disgusting thing in the entire world. The chalky substance, the foul odor. Eggs also, when you get them for breakfast, they're, to me, one of like the top foods that that goes bad the quickest. As soon as an egg starts to get cold, disgusting to me. Like, particularly if you get a fried egg or like an omelet at a restaurant, it's just so disgusting. So yeah, you got to eat it quickly before you realize how disgusting it is. But yes, I do agree with you. I'm loving this list so far. I'm very curious what you have as King of the Hill here at number 1.
I think I have a pretty definitive winner. Number 1, as the most gross yet delicious food on the earth, we have fish sauce.
Wow.
Fish sauce.
Wow.
For those who don't know, it's basically
Wow.
fermented, I believe it's anchovy juice or perhaps sardine juice, some small fish that they compact and ferment and just squeeze all of its flavor. And so you get this highly concentrated, highly fishy, highly funky flavor in this very potent sauce.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting. If you've ever smelled it, it smells like rotten fish. I mean, and yet it is utterly critical to Thai cuisine and many other Asian cultures' food, which is among the most delicious food in the world. So you have to give it to fish sauce. Very gross, but very necessary for delicious food.
I find myself adding it to most savory meals I make. Alton Brown, I know, does this recipe where a lot of Italian tomato sauces, they'll add an anchovy at the start, but he'll kind of start with fish sauce because it's a good way to kind of duplicate that if you don't have anchovies. So I always do that. When I'm sauteing onions or garlic before like a stir fry or something, I typically add fish sauce. It's just such a great thing to add early in the cooking process and kind of let it, sort of permeate and just like perfume and affect all the other flavors in a dish. But yeah, you're right. It smells pretty gross. The name of it is pretty gross, but boy, is it delicious. It's just like eggs. It's like any of these things you mentioned. They're disgusting, but they're delicious, That's wonderful. I think that was a really good list. Peanut butter is maybe the only one I'd quibble with, but you know what? You quibbled with a couple of my Christmas movies or TV shows, whatever I ended up listing. And it's good to have dissent once in a while, isn't it?
Yeah, can't always agree.
All right, tell the folks at home what you assigned me for the category of food.
Well, my brother is a master of spuds, and so I asked him to give us his top 5 preparations for potatoes.
That's right. Holiday season, we have a lot of potatoes, and I love potatoes, and I'm going to get into my favorite preparations for them. So before I get into the top 5, I have to mention and tip my cap to the workhorses of potato preparations. Those are roasted potatoes and baked potatoes. I just want to tip my cap to them. During a weeknight, I typically make them. Great baked potato recipe I have. I'll tell you really quick. You get that oven up to about 400 degrees. You stab a potato a bunch of times with a fork. You put them in naked. No salt, no oil, nothing. You let it go about 45 minutes. It's completely dried out. Then you get it out. You brush it with oil, heavy on the salt. Back in for another 20 minutes. You get a really fluffy inside, really crispy skin. Perfect baked potato every time. And then roasted potatoes. I probably make them once or twice a week. Great. Leftover the next day and breakfast burritos, breakfast tacos, eggs, stuff like that. But the night before, great pair with a veg and a protein. They're just great. Workhorse potatoes. Got to tip my cap. Of course, they're not going to make the top 5. I also have to give an honorable mention. This one is not in the top 5. I love potatoes. What can I say? I'm tipping my cap all over the place. This one did not make number 5. I really debated it for a long time. Believe it or not, I did not include mashed potatoes.
Wow.
Mashed potatoes are not in my top 5 because I think they are so reliant on gravy. Mashed potatoes are good by themselves, but they really need like the au jus or the sauce of a pot roast or the gravy during Thanksgiving. They really need that dance partner. So I couldn't quite get them into my top 5. Also, I like skin on my mashed potatoes. I'm tired of this shit at fancy restaurants where it's just baby food. They get the skin off and they puree it and they sieve it, and it's just like gummy baby food, and it's just so boring. Get the skins back in mashed potatoes. Leave them a little lumpy. It should be rustic. It's a fun, rustic, homey dish. All right, end of rant. Let's get into the top 5. Number 5, my 5th favorite potato preparation. Kettle cooked potato chips. I could eat 1,000 of these things. I bring them to most parties I go to and always eat them. People are like, you brought chips. And I'm like, I did. I'm going to have some. And they're like, I thought it was for everyone. And I was like, this is my chip bag. I take it wherever I go.
It's my property. I'm letting you have some.
I love the Kettle brand kettle cooked potato chips. I love Cape Cod makes great potato chips. Ruffles are great. All these are great. I know I said kettle cooked, but potato chips in general are just awesome and nice and salty. You could eat a ton of them. Fabulous on their own. They don't need a dip, unlike mashed potatoes needs that dance partner, needs that gravy, right?
How salty do you want your potato chips?
Lay's get a little too salty for me. Ruffles, too, dance on that line. Ruffles are a little heartier, so the salt doesn't bother me as much. But I don't need a ton of salt with them. Cape Cod are not especially salty, so I don't need a ton of salt on there, but you do want enough that gets you reaching for that next chip, you know? You want it to be limitless when you're eating from that family-sized bag in the dead of night.
One of the more pure preparations of the potato.
I would say so. Just, oil, salt. That's all you need, right? We'll get into that in this next one pretty much, too. Number 4. Fourth best potato preparation, hash browns. I like a really quality hash brown. Gotta be fresh, frozen won't do it. Shave them on a box grater or slice them into really thin little discs or shavings. Get them super crispy on the outside, super soft in the middle. And I like a good bit of salt. Hash browns need a lot of salt. And then once it gets to the table, I like getting the cracked black pepper on there. But yes, very simple preparation. Love hash browns, though. A must when I go out to breakfast. I could not imagine going out to breakfast and not getting hash browns.
Wow. What about with onions and
bell
peppers?
peppers,
Yeah,
kind of
factor
potatoes O'Brien. Yeah. I like them pretty simple, to be honest. I like when I go out to breakfast, I'll do a mix 50-50 ketchup and hot sauce, like a Tapatio or something like that with the Heinz ketchup. And I like just doing the potatoes into that. It's sort of like my number 3 option, fries. Fries are the third best preparation for potato. A lot of people like them really thin and crispy. I think a lot of people think good fries are what you get with frozen fries, and those are generally pretty good. Gotta be honest, I kind of like steak fries. I kind of like steak fries. Like going to a fancy restaurant, getting some steak fries. But to be perfectly honest, my favorite fry is right in between. Thin and crispy is good, but I taste a little too much of the fryer. It's a little too saturated with oil. It's a little too crispy. I like kind of a medium fry where there's a little bit of like fluffy potato, but there's still a crunch on the outside. That to me is a perfect fry. I don't mind occasionally getting kind of a limper, soggier fry mixed in with the crispy ones too. I think that's just kind of part of the fun of fries. They don't all have to be rigid, perfectly erect, thin fries, right? They some can be a little bigger, some can be a little smaller, some can be broken, some can be full, right? It's like this beautiful melting pot of a world we have. What would a world be if we were all the same fry? You know what I mean? We all want to be different, right?
Life is like a basket of fries. Huh?
Absolutely. I will also say this. Curly fries, overrated. I don't really like them. They are always over fried. They're always like breaded or just not enough potato on there. Super processed. Not for me. For babies, in fact.
Yeah. Do you? I might choke on it, but do you like the seasoned salt kind of
on fries? I tend to pure salt. I tend to just like salt. Potato. Let the potato shine. It's a humble spud, and you gotta let it shine. Number 2, Lyonnaise potatoes. We get these at Musso and Frank's. They are delicious. They are basically little kind of medallions of potatoes, about half-inch thick or so, crammed in a cast iron pan with a ton of butter, caramelized onions, seasoned well, and they just cook down and essentially fry in the butter, and then they kind of turn out the cast iron pan, and you get a big plate of them. Great with a lot of ketchup. When I'm in pig mode, at Musso's, they usually give you some hollandaise sauce with like the grilled vegetable that you order, broccolini or asparagus. If I'm in pig mode, I'm dumping some hollandaise on those Lyonnaise potatoes, and feeling my heart stop briefly. But yes, Lyonnaise potatoes, you do not see them very often, but they are just awesome, and easy to make at home. If you can't get them at a restaurant, make them at home. They're pretty sweet. Number 1, the greatest potato preparation, potatoes au gratin and or scalloped potatoes. It's thinly sliced potatoes with cream and sprinkled cheese on top. And when you bake it and it gets golden brown and you bring it to a dinner party, you're going to embarrass every other dish at the dinner party. I've never had a bad scallop potato. To be honest, I've seen they have like boxed versions of them or like frozen versions of them. I've never gotten one of those because they're so easy to make and they are just so unbelievably good. They can be cut paper thin. You can do that, or you could give them a little more body. But layered potato, it's like a potato lasagna, basically, right?
Yeah.
It's like a potato mac and cheese. They are just the king. There is no better potato preparation in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. Those are fantastic, and they have the richness that you're sort of looking for with a bit of the crispy, and then they also give you that nice, rich, delicious, creamy flavor that you want.
I know my spuds. What can I say? Let's move on now to our next category. This will be our last one for part one. We have sports as our next category. And for sports, I assigned you, John, the top 5 must-watch athletes right here, right now, year of our Lord 2025, entering 2026. I told you any sport you want, any type of athlete you want, you go for it. Your top 5 must-watch athletes.
So this is sort of looking forward to the new year. Number 5 is the modern Babe Ruth himself, Shohei Ohtani. Obviously, this is an incredible man, the only person who's pitching and hitting at an incredibly high level, arguably one of the best pitchers, arguably one of the best hitters. Never really seen this before, and the fact that he's done it now in back-to-back World Series victories is really incredible. However, this, I think, has taken a little bit of the pressure off Shohei. And I think part of what makes an athlete must watch is that they have something to prove. I think at this point, he kind of doesn't really have too much more to prove other than how long can he keep this up for. And, you know, as the American sporting audience, we like something that's a little bit fresher. So I would say Shohei would have probably occupied the number 1 spot for the last 2 years, but his success has almost made him less of a must-watch, in my opinion.
Interesting, yeah. World Series, he wasn't incredible for his standards. But yeah, really electric player to watch. Kind of not since Bonds has there been a baseball player where it's like, all right, everyone come to the TV, Shohei's up, right? He's pretty electric, must watch, especially in big playoff moments.
I agree with that. The other thing is, it's just the sort of nature of baseball is that he can have a game where he has like a single,
right,
and just doesn't and strikes out 3 times, and like, well, that's kind of just what it is. It's all these other people. I think you're pretty much going to see something rather remarkable. Baseball is just such these isolated incidents, so I think it's a little bit harder to be like a must watch.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Number 4, I have Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
He is the best basketball player in the game currently. He is a Serbian master of the sport. He's able to do just about anything with the ball in his hands. He can pass, he can shoot, he can dribble. He's massive. He can back people down. He can pirouette around them. He's just a real true joy to watch, while also looking like he would not be good at basketball. He has a very dopey expression on his face. He has a terrible goatee. He's constantly flushed and red. He has the scars on his arm like those that you would find upon a great white that's been swimming around the ocean for a couple of decades. He does not look remarkable, but as soon as the ball is in his hands, he is remarkable. He is arguably on the way to, if not already being, one of the top 10 NBA players of all time. And if you haven't seen him, it's really worth watching because he's never been better than he is right now.
Yeah, he's so skilled that you do forget he's the biggest guy on the court. He's basically as big as Shaq. And this was the first year watching him. You know, again, he's won 3 MVPs. He's an incredible player. But we grew up with Shaq and were indoctrinated with how dominant Shaq was. And this was really the first year I was watching Jokic. And I kind of just said to myself, I think he's better than Shaq. I mean, Shaq was a pretty good defensive player early in his career. Jokic maybe has not hit the same heights as he has, but Jokic is pretty competent defensively now. That's kind of the lazy knock people give him. But yeah, man, I mean, I watch him and there's nothing he cannot do on a basketball court. Like everything you mentioned, he truly can do it all. And I think another point on defense, he usually is top of the league in steals. I think he gets a lot of steals every year and is usually top of the league in that. But yeah, incredible must-watch player.
Yeah, and also just plays the game the right way despite having all the skills to do it all himself. Yeah. Number 3, somewhat in a similar vein to what I was just saying, Caitlin Clark. She has unfortunately been injured a little bit going forward, but she, took NCAA women's basketball into the absolute stratosphere and did the same for the WNBA. Part of what makes Caitlin Clark must-watch TV is that she has all of the hype surrounding her, but has not quite delivered on it yet, and you can feel that there is a tinge of resentment that I don't think is unhealthy from other WNBA players who are like, we've been in the league for a long time, and actually we're really good, and we're not just going to let you be anointed as the chosen one here. You're going to really have to earn it, and the other side of that is Caitlin Clark has a real mean streak. She's a true competitor. She's a trash talker. And I think when you get this sort of animosity from an opponent, from a sort of protagonist who is not going to back down in the way that she is, you get really compelling theater. She is also just really a showman. She's not very tall, obviously, but can throw the ball in from just about anywhere, and is a little bit limited by the fact that she's been injured, and so I think she's going to be really chomping at the bit in this next year to kind of prove that she's been worth all of the hubbub that surrounds her.
Hell of a playmaker, hell of a shooter. So fun to watch her rookie season, and the media circus that surrounds her is also just fascinating. It just brings a lot of attention to the WNBA, and I think it's just good for everyone involved. So phenomenal pick.
Okay, up next, we've got another basketball player, the absolute phenom, Victor Wembanyama. Also currently injured. Maybe we'll be starting to round into shape by the time this podcast comes out. The most incredible prospect that's ever come into the NBA. Stands at least 7'5", moves like he's 6'5", with all of the skills that you would possibly want. Dribbling skills. He can shoot the ball. He can pass the ball. He's an unreal defender. He does something every single game that he plays that I've never seen anybody else do on a basketball court, and I've been watching basketball my whole life. He is worth the price of admission. They call him the alien. You quibbled with it, but it does, if you were to give a Cliff Note version, it's really hard to believe that this guy's a human being and not a my player created in NBA 2K come to life.
It's incredible the offensive skills he has at his size, but I really enjoy watching him on defense. Just the absolute fear of point guards and smaller guards entering the paint and trying to get a layup against them, knowing it's just going to get swatted into the third row. Bigger players just kind of having no idea how to box him out or position him. He just is a game breaker, and if he can stay healthy for more than a couple of months at a time, like you said about Jokic, like if everything goes well, he has a long career, barring injury, you're looking at a guy who could be a top 10 player of all time.
Yeah, and they're starting to round a pretty competent, confident team around him so that he's not a one-man show. There's some really interesting pieces that have come together. He's also just kind of like hilarious. It's just, whoa, how did he do that? It's like fills you with surprise for a game that's, many decades old as basketball is. And number one, Mr. Haley Steinfeld himself, Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I think, is the number one must-watch athlete right now. And, this is me going out a little bit on the limb. By the time this podcast comes out, there is going to be the NFL playoffs ramping up. Josh Allen, for the last, 5 years or so, has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But the knock against him is that he hasn't won a ring. And really, unless you win a ring, you still just don't get the level of respect that you feel a great athlete should get. And Josh Allen is certainly of the caliber of player to be a champion. However, this year I think is unique in that his main competitors, who for the last half decade or so have been Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow, are all not going to be factors really in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think NFL football, particularly in the playoffs, the quarterback is always an important position, but it's never more important than it is in these high leverage moments, in these winner-take-all, do-or-die playoff games. Josh Allen is capable of doing anything on the field. He's massive. He can truck people. He can throw the ball a mile. He can scramble and make inventive plays that you've never seen before. And then on top of this, he plays in Buffalo, which I think creates some of the most electric atmospheres for football. The snow coming down, these rabid upstate New Yorkers, frothing at the mouth, wanting to see their champions stand atop the mountain of skulls. That is my number one must-watch athlete.
Yeah, I was wondering if you'd mention him. I figured a football player would get in here. Yeah, he's incredible. I think he's been the best quarterback this past season. He doesn't have the greatest receivers on his team. It's not the best team in football for how good he is. But yeah, I am hopeful that this year he will get a ring because he's definitely a player who deserves it. And he's just such a joy to watch. He's a tank out there. My goodness, is he a tank?
Yeah.
Interesting. No LeBron, no Steph Curry. Just kind of they're dinosaurs who kind of aren't as must watch at this present moment. Is that the idea?
I think their best years are behind them, and so they're no longer must-watch players. I don't think they're going to be factoring too much into the highest level of competitions or these kind of legacy shifting victories that would be possible for them if they were on true contenders. And so I sort of made my list more about the people who are truly new phenomenon.
Very good. Very topical. I think your decisions were excellent. Good job.
Wow.
All right. Please tell the folks what you have assigned me, my top 5 list in the category of sports.
Well, this has been one of the absolute worst seasons in my memory for the Sacramento Kings, so I wanted you to take us down a memory lane of misery and tell us the top 5 most depressing moments of the Sacramento Kings season.
Our favorite team, as we record this podcast, they are sitting at a record of 6-18.
Is that bad?
It ain't good. And I'm going to go here at number 5. Most depressing moments of the 25-26 Sacramento Kings season. Number 5, Domantas Sabonis, our best player, getting injured for over a month. At the time of recording this, he's still out. I actually forget what injury he had. Is it his pec or his quad or shoulder? I genuinely can't remember. I just have been a little detached this season. And seeing the news of the injury, I didn't even read the full story. It just depressed me so much.
I want to say adductor?
Yeah.
Left adductor?
Abductor?
I think adductor.
Adductor?
ADDUCTOR.
Does that sound nuts, Slade? Yeah, abductor, Slade says.
Oh,
yeah.
goodness, again.
We got to have a supercut of all the times he's been wrong on here, thinking running backs are 5'1" or whatever crap he said. Anyway, let's get back to it. Domantas Sabonis, he's been injured over a month. No clue when he's going to return. And he's really at a crossroads with the team. He's kind of been the core of the team since he came over the Tyrese Halliburton trade. And I just don't know. He's definitely a limited player, needs a proper team built around him, and this team we have is not the team that he needs. And, yeah, I'm going to need a box of tissues to get through the rest of these. This is going to be pretty brutal. All right, let's go now to number 4. Number 4, most depressing moment of the Sacramento Kings current season. Russell Westbrook getting moved to the starting lineup. I love Russell Westbrook. You know, he was a fun player in his day. He still is a pretty fun player. But he's the definition of a trick-or-treat player. He either makes really, either like really hustles and distributes and rebounds and does all the stuff that leads to winning basketball, or he turns it over or throws it off a guy's head who's not looking, or makes a defensive breakdown. He just is such a tough player to give the keys to the car to, especially now that he's 37 years old. Putting him in the starting lineup was just kind of the Kings throwing the white flag for the season. I will say he's probably been my favorite part of the season. We've both talked about needing a Russell Westbrook Kings jersey just to commemorate, what we're in store for here. But I do think he's kind of the only one who seems to care on the team. The other players seem pretty apathetic, just happy to collect their check and go home and not rotate on defense. But Russell cares to a fault. He almost cares too much. It's like a boyfriend or girlfriend who love bombs you, right? It's like, whoa, too many flowers. You're hugging me too tight. Too many kisses. Like, it's just like, It's too much.
Russ, you're
much.
Pushing the pace too much. Russ,
Yes,
you're taking too many shots. Russ, no, Russ. And then occasionally he does something. You're like, you're not so bad. Come back here. I'm better with you than without. But yes, certainly not a player who should be anybody's starting lineup in 2025.
Not at all. Number 3, most depressing moment of the Kings season. there was a beef between one of our players, Zach Levine, and a Kings super fan named Devlin Carter. Devlin Carter is a pretty wealthy individual who's a big fan of the Sacramento Kings, sits behind the Sacramento Kings bench, and was talking with one of his friends one night when the Kings were getting blown out. Levine was having a terrible game. I think he had like 8 points in the fourth quarter, even though he makes over $40 million a year. I think he ended the game with 6 turnovers. Terrible effort on defense. We were noticing it just watching at home. And apparently this fan, Devlin Carter, said to Zach Levine, quote, "We don't come here to watch y'all not play defense." And Levine's response, I'm going to have to censor a bit. Devlin Carter's an African-American gentleman, and Zach Levine is part African-American. Levine said in response, quote, "Go home, N-word," end quote. And then he followed it up with, quote, "Take your ass home, N-word." These are Devlin Carter's recollections of the events. Not really how you want a player making this amount of money talking to fans, even if the fans are jeering him. Devlin Carter and I believe his wife eventually left the arena. The security told him, you can just step aside for a second. You can come back. But he's like, no, I'm good. I'm going to leave. And Devlin Carter represents what a lot of us Kings fans are feeling, is that we just want a competitive product on the floor. We really don't care if the team is 500 or has a losing record even. As long as you go out there and play defense and try really hard, we will pack the stadium and we will cheer you on loudly. We just want to watch good basketball. There's very few fan bases you could mention in any sport that don't care about the team's record, that truly just care that the players are giving effort every night. But Sacramento fans are like that, and so it's been rough. Levine, we got him in the De'Aaron Fox trade. We were hopeful he could kind of help our franchise sustain success, but he's been terrible all year. He's a turnover machine. He can't play make. He doesn't make any effort on D. Yes, he can score, but again, he gives up all the points he scores on the defensive end. He's only an isolation scorer. He's terrible with team chemistry and doesn't seem to get along with anyone. And when he eventually leaves, I'd be happy to help him pack his bag.
Yeah, I found this to be a depressing yet also heartening moment for the Kings season. This is one of the few years where, being a diehard fan, usually I'm willing to cheer on the Kings through any of their ups and downs. If I were in the arena, I would be jeering them as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to see somebody voicing the fans' opinions.
When we're occasionally watching at home on TV, you're telling me some of the jeers you would say if you were at the arena. So we got to keep a little logbook of those and bust them out when we get back to Sac for a game. Number 2 most depressing moment of the Kings season. It occurred during a blowout loss to the Hawks, where the Kings lost 133-100. We were at home playing a very okay Hawks team that were without Trae Young. But the most depressing, yet also kind of one of my favorite moments of the Kings season, came after the game, where former Kings player and now coach Doug Christie lit into the team. It was one of the most scorched earth press conferences I had ever seen. Again, the game was terrible. You and I watched every second of it. We had a great night out, got some Thai food, went shopping at Ross, just a classic Flynn Brothers night. We came home, we're going to watch a little Kings basketball, and we watched every second of this miserable, pitiful game in a deep depression, like we were in the sunken place and Get Out. And it was just a team-wide collapse. I mentioned terrible defense, no hustle, no effort. And Coach Doug Christie, here were some of my favorite quotes from the press conference. He's talking about the importance of representing the Kings franchise properly. He says, quote, "Put on the jersey, represent it properly. These people need to come into the turnstiles, and they need to be proud when they leave here about the product that they see. Not embarrassed. Unacceptable. Period." Another quote from Doug Christie. "If you've ever been to any gym, rec, hood, anywhere, get ran off the court and see if you get some respect." He's talking about how he's taking butt whoopings and you got to bounce back. You're not going to get any respect if you just take it lying down. Here's my favorite quote. Christie says, quote, "I wish I could have put on the jersey. At 55, I would have showed you better than that. At least I'm going to use all 6 fouls. I can't move, but I'm going to foul the shit out of somebody." That to me was just so hilarious. And also true. I do believe if Doug Christie suited up, he would have probably been like our second or third best player that night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can see him chomping at the bit on the sidelines. Very old school mentality that Doug is espousing here, and the a player-centric era of the NBA that we find ourselves in. Typically, there isn't this, hey, fellas, we really got to put our best effort forward for the city. Like, it's almost a quaint idea, but it is rather heartening to hear from the coach.
And the number one most depressing moment of the Sacramento Kings season, realizing we are officially in another playoff drought. We will not make the playoffs this year. It'll be our third year not making the playoffs since we made the playoffs once after a 16-year drought. I don't count the fact that we played in a couple play-in games. The play-in does not count as making the playoffs. At this point, it could be another 16 years. To be honest, I would be absolutely shocked if we made the playoffs before the year 2030. And if we do, I will eat my shirt, and I will do it right here on the Flynn Brothers podcast.
Before 2030?
Yeah.
5 years.
I don't think we will make the playoffs before 2030.
Wow. That is grim.
Yep.
That is pessimistic.
Yeah, that's what everyone said when we were a couple years into our first playoff drought, and then it was 16 years later.
Yeah.
And people born when we were not making the playoffs at the end of it could drive a car.
Do you think anybody who is currently affiliated with the Kings organization will be affiliated with the Kings organization when the playoff drought is broken?
I saw an article earlier today about our general manager, Scott Perry, who's never really had success as a general manager executive, talking about how it's going to be a 3 to 5 year project, this rebuild. And I don't even know if he'll be around. I've never really liked him as the general manager. I know it hasn't been very long. I never understood him as the pick. I didn't mind Monty McNair, who was our previous GM. I did not mind Mike Brown as a coach. I get that he lost the team and had some brutal losses. I really like Doug Christie as a person and a competitor. I really hope the team can rally around him. Best case scenario, we get a great draft pick this upcoming year. We make some trades, and in 2 to 3 years, we're in the playoffs, but that's about the best we can hope for. And we'd still be looking at like 2028. So I don't think it's too pessimistic to say it would take another 2 years, especially when you were the Kangs of Sacramento.
Yeah. Well, hey, fair enough. I can't really push back too much other than unrealistic hope.
All right, well, we're going to end things for part 1, and we are going to see you all next week on part 2. But in the meantime, please subscribe, comment, and leave a rating. Send questions, comments, or big idea suggestions to our business email, flynnbrospod@gmail.com. Thank you to our producer, Will Slade, and we'll see you next time on the Flynn Brothers Podcast. Take care, buddy.
Nobody, you take care.